Welcome back for another edition of the Sacramento Bee Sports Show. I'm Mike Finnerty, joined as always by a fixture of the Bee, Joe Davidson, in his 25 years, Joe. And we have a fun show here. We're out at Sleep Train Arena, and we are going to cover it all. Pro, high school, college, nothing we're going to leave out here. And to start it off, we're going to have some highlights as we do every week in high school football, basketball, volleyball. And we're going to also catch up with a local product who is playing for the San Francisco Giants. He's getting ready for spring training. What else we got?
Oh, we got a lot right there. And then you have Jim Last, the former Sacramento Kings three-point shooter in this building, now is leading UC Davis men's basketball to the best start in their Division I history. Talk to him and three locals on the Aggies. Catch up to Shaq Thompson, Eric Armstead, two homegrown products, the best of friends. They are going to be first-round NFL draft picks. We're doing a lot of stories on that in the Sacramento Bee and at sacbee.com. We're going to catch up to Aileen Voisin and our longtime columnist, and we'll talk about DeMarcus Cousins, talk about other things of note, the new arena, what's going on there. We're hitting all menus here.
Yes, we are. But we're going to start off with the Bee Newsroom. We're going to kind of get some news and notes of late. In the NFL, local teams, 49ers and Raiders, have new head coaches. Let's start off with the 49ers, Jim Tomsula. As you say, he's no Jim Harbaugh.
He's no Jim Harbaugh, but the players like him. We'll touch on Aileen Voisin and her thoughts on that as well. Is it a good hire? Is it not a good hire? The one hire that we do endorse is across the bay, the Oakland Raiders, Jack Del Rio, and we have a great photo here of him in the early 1980s at Hayward High School. He's a three-sport star. How about that hair? Look at that dribbling formation.
Nice.
So the theme that we always stress is multi-sport. Do as much as you can, because you know what happens if you multi-sport?
Well, you're going to be a head coach in the NFL. That's what it's
it
going
helps
to be.
your resume.
All right, let's talk some Major League Soccer. The MLS drafted some local guys of recent. Connor Hallisey out of Granite Bay and Cal. He went, as well as Miguel Aguilar from Encina. We love the local products, but they're joining some already local products in the MLS when you've got Tommy Thompson out of Granite Bay, who is with the San Jose Earthquakes. Adam John out of Jesuit, who's with the San Jose Earthquakes. Loads of talent in this league, and we like the locals playing pro.
Yeah, and this may be a region in Sacramento with the success of the FC Republic of getting an MLS soccer team here. And the Miguel Aguilar story is an amazing one. He went to Encina High School, went through poverty. Marcus Bertone of Sacramento Bee did a wonderful story on that. We have some great photos here by Hector Amezcua of Miguel going back to Encina in the San Juan Unified School District to talk to the students. I was in your chair. I was in your class. I understand poverty. I used to go home to an empty refrigerator. Didn't know if I was going to make it through school. He found soccer to be a salvation, and he's a role model for a lot of those students at Encina High School. So good for him to go back and give back to his old school.
Yeah, agreed. Well, we're going to catch up with Aileen Voisin and get her thoughts on the 49ers and those Raiders coaches. And here's our interview with her as she gives us her opinion on what she thinks of those hires.
All right, Avi, always good to catch up to you. You've written about George Karl. He should be the Kings coach. Why do you believe that, and will it happen?
Well, I think two things. If the Kings were going to make a change and fire Michael Malone December 14th, they had a pretty good start to the season. DeMarcus Cousins misses 11 games. The team takes a turn. If you're going to make that drastic a move, basically citing his inexperience, you don't like the offense, then you've got to come back with something big, a home run kind of hire, somebody who's very different, somebody who's very established, and somebody who is a dynamic presence. You can't just come and bring another inexperienced or mildly experienced assistant coach turned NBA head coach. It doesn't work. The Kings needed to make a home run.
And Aileen, the thing I think about is, will the change maybe be made? It doesn't look like it's been. They signed Corbin for this year, so do you think that change will go?
Well, I think that Corbin's the coach for the rest of the season, but in the NBA, what does that really mean? Their plan and their hope is to stay with Corbin for the rest of the season and then undergo and evaluate and look at other potential candidates, interview people, maybe bring some around some of the players. But if you go into the All-Star game in 3 weeks here and you're in a skid and there's not any progress here, you keep losing these games the way they're losing them, I think anything could change, anything could happen. And I think that George is definitely on the radar. I think he's somebody they're looking at, that they have been looking at. But I think you have too many people in the front office that just can't agree on much of anything these days. So it's kind of almost like inertia. They're just almost paralyzed by their inability to make decisions.
Moving on to subject number 2, you mentioned the word all-star an all-star game. Speaking of that, DeMarcus Cousins, will he make it? Does he deserve to go?
I think he absolutely deserves to make it. I think he's widely regarded now in the league as the best center in basketball. If you look what he's done, just statistically alone, he's in top 5 in scoring, top 5 in rebounding, and he's made tremendous strides defensively, which was his weakness, his glaring weakness. He's 9th in block shots now, and more impressively than the numbers is he's making an attempt to defend the basket and really cover for his teammates' mistakes. And he's just had a tremendous year. You just see him. I mean, the team. You see the team without him and with him. It's two different teams, and I think he's really an emerging superstar. If he can continue to maintain the behavior and demeanor and keep his temper, which he's done a terrific job at. I think he's made the DeMarcus Cousins of a year ago. This is a different player. I think Team USA really helped him a lot in terms of maturing.
Switching to the NFL real quick, 2 new NFL coaches for the Bay Area teams, Jim Tomsula for the San Francisco 49ers, Jack Del Rio for the Oakland Raiders. Good hires or curious hires?
Well, curious hires. I think good and curious. I think Del Rio is the one that stands out as making a lot of sense. I mean, he's established, experienced head coach. He's got the Bay Area roots. He's put together a good staff around him. So I think that's a very good hire for the Raiders. The Niners, what they're doing, they want the anti-Jim Harbaugh, and they have that in Jim Tomsula. But you also have a head coach that's never been a head coach before. You have somebody who's has a lot of experience at all different levels. But once you making that move from the side seat to the hot seat, in all of sports, throughout sports, is very, very difficult to predict who's going to be good and effective and really blossom in that position. It's almost unpredictable, with a few exceptions.
The exception to the rule always is Aileen Voisin. Good to catch up to you. We'll see you next time.
You as well, Joe.
All right, Joe, back to the NFL, which is always in season, and it's going to be a good spring for a pair of local guys who are probably going to go in the first round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, Shaq Thompson, high school All-American at Grant in Del Paso Heights, college All-American at Washington, at linebacker, and his longtime friend Eric Armstead out of Pleasant Grove High School in Elk Grove, and the Oregon Ducks, 6'8", 290 pounds, defensive end. Great personalities, great charisma. You get to find out a little bit right here in this segment.
Shaq Thompson, the 6'1", 228-pound All-American linebacker for the University of Washington, hails from Del Paso Heights, a Grant Pacer through and through, and one of the most talented football players this region has ever seen. This week, Thompson announced that he'll forego his senior year and enter the NFL draft this spring. A likely first-round pick, this must be an exciting time.
Yeah, it actually is a dream come true. College went by fast for me. I remember just being a freshman, and now I'm eligible to come out the draft.
Thompson can play linebacker, safety, and even running back, making him the epitome of versatile. And Thompson was recognized as such last month when he won the Paul Hornung Award. So, in the NFL, what is your natural position?
I want to play outside linebacker for sure. Some people have me as a strong safety. It's about the same thing.
In a game against Colorado this season, Thompson got the opportunity to play running back, something he did well in his years at Grant. In that game, Thompson rushed for 175 yards and had a touchdown, a flashback to the old days.
Yeah, it brought back a lot of memories from high school and whatnot, but the most important thing was just helping out our offense, get going and whatnot. 2 running backs were down, Dwayne Washington, LaVon Coben, and Coach P asked me to go over there until they get back, and that's what I did.
Eric Armstead is a 6'8", 290-pound defensive lineman for the University of Oregon. Armstead graduated early from Pleasant Grove High School in Elk Grove back in December of 2011, and it has paid off nicely. This week, Armstead and his fellow Ducks teammates will prepare to take on defending national champion Florida State in the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. Armstead and his guys are ready for the challenge.
I feel good. I think our team is really finding our stride at this point in the season. We're getting better throughout the season as a defense and as a whole team. And, it's an exciting time of the year, going to play in the Rose Bowl, which is probably the best bowl game to be in. So it's real exciting.
If Oregon is to have any success against the Seminoles, they'll need to get after former Heisman Trophy winner Jameis Winston.
We're going to have to put some pressure on them. It's going to be on me and the D-line to do that. And, that's going to be a big part of us if we're able to win.
Armstead arrived at Oregon as a football and basketball player, but he gave up hoops after 2 years to focus on football, a decision he would make again.
I love basketball. I think it was the best thing for me at that time in my life and what I was trying to do and what I was trying to accomplish. And, I don't regret any decision that I made. And, I think it's been very helpful for me to just focus on football. And, like I said, work on that craft.
When we come back from the break, we've got more on the Sacramento Bee Sports Show as we catch up with UC Davis men's basketball coach Jim Les, and we got loads of high school highlights.
This is your RAM Auto Update.
Just in, the classic term used car is old-fashioned, outdated, and no longer of any particular relevance. Let's party. The Roseville Auto Mall is throwing a massive factory-certified pre-owned sales event. That means incredible savings on just about every kind of car in the world. All factory certified. It's happening now. It's going fast. In layman terms, skedaddle. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
We want to thank our title sponsor, Save Mart Supermarkets. Shop Save Mart up and down the Central Valley.
Welcome back to the Sacramento Bee Sports Show, as we cover it all. High schools, colleges, professionals. It's a great region for all of that. We're in Sleep Train Arena, where the Kings, in their second to last season here, getting ready for the new arena. High school section championships, Northern California championships will be here on this very floor. But for the meantime, let's talk about UC Davis men's basketball. We caught up to Jim Les, who used to fire up a few three-pointers here. The Aggies, Mike, are off to a great start. They're best in Division I.
Yep, ranked number 17. And we got a chance to catch up with Mr. Les and get his thoughts on the team and what he likes about it.
Talk about what has really worked for this team. You guys are off to a great start.
Well, I think a couple of things. One, this group of guys has created a culture where they show up every day and they work really hard. They compete really hard. And I think that sets the tone. And then throw in the fact, really good kids, great ambassadors for this university. True student athletes are at the 9th best public school in the country, so they get it done in the classroom as well as on the floor. And then I think the last part is their chemistry. I haven't been around a group too many times like this where everybody's pulling for each other. Nobody cares about who's getting the accolades, who's scoring the points, who's getting the assists. They just want to win at the end of the day. And when you got a group like that that creates a culture, has great character, and then has that motivation to win, you can do special things.
And, you're an inherent competitor. You played this game a long time. You coached a long time. Your first year, 5 wins, that had to be hard for you.
Well, it is, but, you have to understand the rebuilding process. And, we wanted to start from ground zero. And really it starts with, any coach bringing in the right players. And I sold them on, hey, there isn't a Division I tradition in history here at UC Davis. You get the chance to start one. You get a chance to be on the ground floor building that foundation. And some guys, hey, that intrigued them. Other guys, maybe not so much. They wanted to go somewhere else where it was ready-made. So it's even more special with these guys. And I think when you go through adversity like we've done, and you lose games and you struggle and not everything's easy, well, you got a great appreciation. Plus you find out a lot about yourself. And you tend to, if you keep working, get better. And this group has fought through adversity. They've gotten better. They've kept a great attitude, and they deserve the success that they're having.
When you had a good measure of success as an NBA player, you were the ultimate grinder. Do you appreciate those days, looking back?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't be the person I am today or the coach I am today if you didn't have the years where you win 5 games, or I wasn't the player if I didn't have the years where I struggled, got cut, went to the CBA. And I think these guys too, you've talked to some guys who have had injuries. You've talked to some guys that, it hasn't gone as well. We haven't won as many games. And, you find out a lot about yourself. And this group kind of dug deep. And I knew this offseason, the way they attacked the spring and summer workouts and how hard they got after it, that this was going to be something special. There's talent, but talent isn't enough. It's the culture, it's the work ethic, it's the character that's giving these guys a chance to win every night.
Several of your players say, yeah, Coach Les, he still has game. You don't run the floor anymore. We understand you can still hit some threes, but are your legs shot?
Every once in a blue moon, I'll fire one up and talk a little trash, but my talking game is much better than my playing game. I just see too many guys on the recruiting trail with the torn ACL and the torn Achilles, and I don't have the time for any of that. Plus, my time has passed me by.
Last thought, how fun is it to coach your son?
It's been great. What a blessing. We have a great relationship, and for me to spend his, college years and to be around him, I don't know if he feels the same way in terms of being around his dad every day, but it's been a blessing for me. He's a great young man, and part of our bond in our good relationship is around basketball. He loves the game, I love the game, and I think we do a really good job, and it's because he's so mature of separating, hey, this is when I need to be coach and you need to be the player. And then we make sure we carve out some time where it's father-son. Hey, let's go have lunch. Let's not talk about basketball. Let's talk about, you and what's going on in your life. So especially during the season, we got to make sure we have those moments as well as player-coach.
All right, it's always good to catch up to Jim Les, and it's a funny thing. When he played for the Kings in the early 1990s, the Kings had the NBA record for the most consecutive road losses, and the Kings charter plane was called Air Ball 1. And when the NBA losing streak for the road finally ended, then Coach Dick Motta treated them all to a 12-pack of beer because he wouldn't let them drink beer otherwise. So that's a story that Jim Les still talks about all these days later. He's an excellent coach. And Jerry Reynolds, we talked to Jerry Reynolds earlier, he gave him his first coaching job with the Sacramento Monarchs when Jerry was the general manager with the Monarchs. Jerry, a fixture here with the Kings, but he's very proud of him as well.
Yeah, and you can tell he's proud to be coaching son, too. Good bonding experience for them. All right, Joe, we're going to now move into our high school highlights. We're going to start it off with our Les Schwab game of the week. It's big-time football. It's the Folsom Bulldogs taking on the Grant Pacers for the Division I Section Championship. We take you out to Sacramento State University for the CIF Northern California Regional Championship, featuring a pair of Sacramento area teams. You've got the 14-0 Folsom Bulldogs making their third straight appearance in a regional championship game, taking on the 14-0 Grant Pacers, their best season since winning a state title back in 2008. We're going to pick it up early in the second quarter. Folsom up 3-0 when quarterback Jake Browning looks left, and he finds Cole Thompson down the left side for the game's first touchdown and a 10-0 Bulldogs advantage. Short time later, Folsom with the ball at the Grant 5 when Josiah DeGuara takes the handoff, but we've got some trickery. DeGuara is going to look the other way and hit a wide-open Browning for the touchdown, and it's now a 17-0 game. For the balance of the half, it would be all Folsom, with Bailey Leolagi scoring here in a touchdown, a 17-yard interception return. Then later, a safety on Grant in the half would send Folsom to the midway mark in full command, up 26-0. The second half was pretty much the same, just too much Folsom. Here's Browning going to Thompson again. This touchdown ties a single-season state record for Thompson, his 33rd. It's a 39-0 game now. Still in the third quarter, the onslaught continued. Brian Weldy's going to punch it in to make it a 46-0 game. And when all was said and done, Folsom would walk away with a 52-21 win over Grant and punch its ticket to the Division I state championship game. The Bulldogs will take on Oceanside of San Diego this Friday at the StubHub Center in Carson, California. Despite a pair of interceptions, Browning was 13 of 25 for 259 yards and 3 touchdowns. Leolagi had 87 yards on the ground, and the defense was dominant once again. After coming up short the past 2 years in this game, Folsom finally breaks through and will now look to get its second state title and its first since 2010.
Had a great offensive game plan. Val Leolagi, Sam Cole had the defense dialed, and our defense played lights out. I don't think, again, I know our offense and Jake gets a ton of credit, but our defense has been incredible all year. The O-line guys, Jake Couveau, Will Cook, Sam Whitney, Jonah Williams, Cody Creason dominated tonight, and that was a great team win.
Great feeling playing an incredible Grant team. We knew it would be a challenge, and just so proud of our guys, all three phases. Defensively, we're able to really stop the run against an incredibly big and fast team.
I'm 0-2, or we're 0-2 in these games, and to finally win one feels great. And we're just excited to get down to Southern California and play in the state game.
It's exciting. We all worked hard for this. So the people that started on varsity our sophomore year, and then also everybody that's kind of been up here for varsity and just coming down now, and we're all excited to finally go to the state.
All right, Mike, good stuff there. The Folsom Bulldogs are a unique juggernaut. It's the best-looking unit I've ever seen in high school football in all my years doing this. Jake Browning is the humble star. He has taken special needs students to the prom. He says the love of his life is his 2-year-old kid sister, Ella. He's going to the University of Washington. He's going to finish at Folsom as the most prolific high school athlete in high school football history. Wow.
And we appreciate what he did. Joe, if you think football is good in this area, check it out. We've got great high school hoops in Sacramento. It's Oak Ridge taking on Del Oro in a good one. Let's go back to Del Oro for Game 2 of the doubleheader between the Golden Eagles and the visiting Oak Ridge Trojans. It's the boys' turn this time, and we saw a good one. Early on, it was all Oak Ridge, though. Matt Battaglia to Connor Schmude puts the Trojans up 9-0 to start the game. But Del Oro came back and tied it 11-all on a Trey Udovia 3 late in the first. second quarter, Oak Ridge outscored Del Oro 11-3 behind some nice shots from Cole Compton as Oak Ridge would head to the break up 26-17. Third quarter now, Tyus Mulholland drives the hoop to make it 33-17. However, Del Oro comes back, sparked by several three-pointers from Dom Pearson to cut the lead to 1 and finish the third quarter down by just 5. Oak Ridge kept the pressure on. Battaglia with a 3 as part of his 18 points on the night. Trojans up by 7 with 3:25 left. Del Oro makes one last run. It's Pearson hitting the 3 again to get to within 2 with 1:15 left. Then it's Zach Kasperite. He drives to cut the lead to 1 with 36 seconds remaining. And then watch this. Kasperite on the miss in close, but there to clean it up is Trey Adofia on the putback with 7 seconds left, putting Del Oro in the lead for the first time in this game at 56-55. One last chance for Oak Ridge, but Mulholland can't get it to go as Del Oro completes the comeback with a 56-55 win. Adolfia, he finished with 17 points as Del Oro improves to 2-2 in league. Oak Ridge drops to 2-3.
All right, Mike, you think basketball's really good, which it is around here. How about high school volleyball? It's called the Holy Court Rivalry Series between St. Francis of Sacramento, Christian Brothers of Sacramento. We were there. We had to yell to hear ourselves.
Yeah, and it was packed because we didn't even think we could get in there. It's Christian Brothers taking on St. Francis. You won't find a bigger crowd or a bigger rivalry when it comes to Sacramento area volleyball. It's the annual Holy Court Showdown featuring the Bees preseason #1 ranked Christian Brothers Falcons taking on the host and #4 St. Francis Troubadours. St. Francis with its all-new lineup, but once again led by Lynn Wright, coach for the Troubadours since 1989, and a new member of the CIF Sac Joaquin Section Hall of Fame as of last month. This match was a battle early, and it started in the first set with St. Francis's Kylie Green tying it at 2-all. Later in the set, Lauren Overstreet delivers with a kill for the Falcons, but it comes right back to her. She gets a second one to go. We're all tied up at 18. Now, tied at 25, the Troubadours go back to Green, who gets the final 2 points to put it away, giving St. Francis the first set 27-25. The second set would be all St. Francis. The ace here makes it 15-5 Troubadours. Then Anna Donald goes for the big hit. The ball's tipped, but it falls in to make it 19-9. Then looking to take game 2, Marissa Golnick sets up the lefty Lizzie Corpy, and that gives St. Francis a second set at 25-13 for a 2-0 lead in the match. Credit to Christian Brothers, though, for not giving up. The Falcons take the third set here with Nastasha Bauman setting up Elizabeth Robinson. That for the game winner. Christian Brothers stayed close in the fourth set, but it was too much St. Francis on this night as the Troubadours take the fourth set 25-19, and they take the match 3-1, and it was all smiles for St. Francis after the match.
They're a great team. They look out for each other, top to bottom, all 18 of them. My seniors are doing a fabulous job, including the sophomores and freshmen and the new juniors to the team. They push each other at practice every single day. Just like the seniors did last year with the seniors that graduated, these guys are doing a great job leading, and I'm really, really proud of them.
We really put it together at the end there. It was a great start last night. Not a good start, but we really, really started out strong, and it was so great.
All right, Mike, my ears are still ringing. Okay, high school volleyball in this Sac Joaquin section is big time. We have all kinds of scholarship athletes who move on, including one from Pleasant Grove in Elk Grove.
Yes, and we caught up with her. It's Samit Gill of Pleasant Grove for our school's financial credit union Game On Athlete of the Week. A team that is expected to compete for a Division I section volleyball title this year is the Pleasant Grove Eagles, something new for this program. And for four-year varsity standout Samit Gill, she would love nothing more than to finish her career with the championship. Gill is a 6'3" middle blocker and captain for the Eagles, who's given a verbal commitment to play for Oregon next year. But as for this year, what do you like about this year's team, and do you have a shot to win it all?
I think this is the year, like a lot has actually led up to this moment and our point, like as we are as a team, and we're really, really confident in ourselves this year for sure. And I don't know, like it's just like the team morale and energy that's like really going into everything, and I don't know, it's gonna be a good season.
As for Gill, she started playing volleyball at a young age with a little urging from her father.
Actually in 6th grade, when my dad kind of pushed me and forced me into it, like I was the kind of kid who didn't really want to try new things. So that's when my dad put me into, had me try out for the school team. That's where it kind of all began.
Gil certainly doesn't come from a family of volleyball players. As a matter of fact, her mom and dad are both from India. Gil was born and raised in the United States. So were your parents athletes at one time?
My mom actually did track and field a lot, and she was also really interested in badminton. And then my dad, he was kind of like the village kid. He didn't do anything. He messed around a lot. That was him.
The University of Oregon will be Samit's next stop for volleyball in education. So what was the process for selecting Oregon?
Well, it was actually a lot that went into the whole process. It all happened so quick and early. But one thing that really sold me there was the fact that, because I value education a lot, so I felt I really needed a school that would help me both my education succeed in that aspect and really further my career as an athlete also.
Pleasant Grove has been on a steady climb since Gil's arrival. 5 wins her first year, 19 wins her second year, and then 20 wins last year. Is it section title or bust for the Eagles?
Definitely. And obviously our coach has higher goals set for us, but we're going to start right now with sections and kind of build up to our bigger goals.
All right, when we come back for the Sacramento Bee Sports Show, we're going to sit down with a former Kings bruiser, and I mean bruiser, who is now smoothly transitioning into coaching. Looks pretty good in a shirt and tie.
Yes, and baseball is not far away with spring training. We catch up with a local product as he gets ready for season 2.
There's a history you feel when you visit any of the Von Hausen automotive dealerships. You'll sense the quality of Mercedes-Benz, and you'll experience the low-pressure atmosphere that comes from 2 generations of family ownership. Mercedes-Benz of Sacramento, Mercedes-Benz of El Dorado Hills, and Mercedes-Benz of Rockland. 3 great reasons to drive one of the world's best automobiles. Come feel the difference or visit vonhausen.com.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, starting with Save Mart Supermarkets, where fresh comes first. Shop at Save Mart up and down the Central Valley. Schools Financial Credit Union, banking for everyone, value, convenience, and emerging technology. Von Hausen Automotive Group, celebrating 50 years with Mercedes-Benz. Stop dreaming and start driving. Roseville Auto Mall. If you're looking for a used car, go to the Roseville Auto Mall with over 6,000 vehicles to choose from. And Les Schwab Tires. Since 1952, we promise we'll get you more for your money.
Welcome back to the Sacramento Bee Sports Show as our coverage reflects what we have in SacBee.com in the print version. News, notes, themes, and trends shaping the area athletes, whether it's the high school ranks, the college ranks, or the NBA. Mike, you remember Corliss Williamson. He was a great banger of a big body for the Kings. The fans loved him for his effort. Played 2 stints with the Kings. Last summer, he's at home in his native Arkansas. He gets a call from Vivek Ranadive. He's like, we want you to coach. And so he's with the Kings now, transitioning into coaching. He loves it. We sat down and talked to him about it. All right, Corliss, you are a 2-time Kings player, a fan favorite. Then you got into coaching in your native Arkansas, and then you got an interesting call over the summer to maybe come join the Kings. Take us through that.
I was right in the middle of recruiting, and I had a chance to be home for a break, and got a phone call from Pete Youngman saying that he had mentioned my name to Coach Malone, and Coach Malone would probably be calling me in the next few days, and it kind of caught me off guard. I was trying to prepare for recruiting that summer, and to get that call from Coach Malone, it was surprising, but it was also exciting as well. I have an opportunity to get back to the NBA.
And you're here. How is the transition from player to coach?
Wow, it's the transition is a little different. And I kind of went through that transition when I first retired from basketball, coaching at a junior college. But coming back to this level, I think for me the biggest transition was coming from college to pros, dealing with grown men rather than young men. So that to me, that was the hardest transition, was learning how to relate to these players again and not treat them like kids.
Do you feel older all of a sudden? I mean, you used to be a young man in a young man's game. Now you're an old man coaching a young man's game.
Yeah, I feel like an old head now. It's funny how things have changed. I mess with the guys now and tell them they couldn't have played in our era, as many fouls as they want to call it now. But it's fun, though, to watch how the game has evolved, how big men have not only score on the block anymore, but now they're able to step out and score on the perimeter as well. That's pretty fun to watch.
You gave basketball so much, an NCAA champion at Arkansas, great, good, solid NBA career. What has basketball given you?
Wow, basketball has allowed me an opportunity to travel the world, to meet different people. I'm a homeboy I love Arkansas, so that's my home. But to have an opportunity to get out and travel all over the United States and some parts of the world, basketball has given me a lot. And not only just the traveling part, but just the life lessons I've learned is given me an opportunity to help reach others as well.
Second to last year for Sleep Train before the new building opens. What are some thoughts and memories of this old building?
Wow. This coming to the NBA as a rookie, this is where I cut my teeth, and this building always hold a special place in my heart. And for me, even now, sometimes it's hard to say Sleep Train. I'm so used to Arco back in the day, but it's going to be a lot of memories in this building, and it's going to be nice though to see the Kings move into a new building.
In your day as a young player, could you have taken DeMarcus Cousins out of the block?
I believe so. I mess with him about that all the time. We have some one-on-one games during his workouts now, and I told him I'm not as young as I used to be, but I probably would have fouled him quite a bit as well.
All right, Mike, good to catch up to Corliss Williamson. I think he's a great bonus for the Sacramento Kings, and he still looks the part of regal big body as well. But, before they're college and professionals, they're high school stars making plays.
And as we do every week, we're going to acknowledge 2 more Von Hausen Stars of the Week. This week's Von Hausen Stars of the Week are Eric Coles Jr. of Casumas Oaks and Isamar Conde of Oak Ridge. Coles Jr., the 6'4" senior forward for the Wolfpack, continued his outstanding play this week with 30 points in a win over Del Campo, and then followed that up 2 nights later with 20 points and 10 rebounds in another winning effort over Antelope. As for Conde, the 5'10" senior guard was a key part in helping lead the number 2 Trojans to a 2-0 week with wins over Wood Creek and Del Oro, but it was Conde's 17-point performance, the win over number 6 Del Oro, that capped off an impressive week for Conde and the Trojans. All right, one more segment to go, and we come back. We're going to finish it up with baseball as we catch up with San Francisco catcher and Roseville product Andrew Susac. Don't go away.
A credit union is a not-for-profit member-owned financial institution. Can your bank say that? Demand more from your financial institution. Make the switch to Schools Financial Credit Union for low loan rates, state-of-the-art technology, making accounts accessible anytime, anywhere, and more ATMs than most major banks. Anyone who lives, works, or worships in Sacramento and its surrounding counties is eligible to join. Be part of the credit union difference and bank happily ever after with Schools.
We want to thank our title sponsor, Save Mart Supermarkets. Shop Save Mart up and down the Central Valley.
Welcome back to the Sacramento Bee Sports Show, as we bring you the very best of high school, college, and professional sports in our coverage area. Mike, one of the fun things about doing this job is sometimes you run into a phenom athlete who's in Little League in Placer County. Then he goes to Jesuit High School and becomes a standout. Then he goes to Oregon State and he gets drafted by the San Francisco Giants, and he plays a role for the World Series champions. I'm talking about Andrew Susac. You've seen him a long time.
Yeah, and he was a fan of the Giants as well. So you talk about everything coming full circle for him. Went to Oregon State, but you and I caught up with him as he's getting ready for spring training, and we got his thoughts on the big year, 2014.
Not too far away from spring training, Andrew, and when you look ahead, obviously a great year last year. What do you look to do to improve, to get better? Talk a little bit about that.
I just think you stay on the same program. My dad talks a lot about just getting better, and there's always room for improvement. So from the catching aspect, get better, get quicker, work on my blocking, and from the hitting aspect, just keep kind of going on the same path I've been going on with my new little swing I have, and just keep getting better.
Your father, Nick, talked about earlier that sometimes in the middle of the night in your Roseville garage, he'd hear the ping of you working out, hitting the ball off the tee. Is the work ethic ever slow down, or does it intensify?
I think it's intensified. I find myself adding new things every year in the off season, and trying to figure out how far is okay to push your body, and I might have a different role this year, so I'm really pushing my body a lot and getting in physical shape for the season.
And you were profoundly disappointed as a real competitor coming out of Jesuit High School. You wanted to be drafted higher. But then I remember talking to you on draft day after the Oregon State experience. You were glad you went to Oregon State. It helped you grow and mature?
Yeah, totally. And, I wasn't a polished hitter by any means out of high school. Defensively, my game's always been pretty solid. And I think when I learned how to become a better hitter, my defense kind of leveled out with my hitting, and I became more of a full player in a sense. But, I'm glad I went to Oregon State. I loved every part of it. I got 2 years of school under my belt, And I mean, you can't get those years back. So I'm just excited I went there, and I think that Coach Casey and the coaching staff there helped me become a better player.
Let's talk about last year. You're in the minor leagues. You get the call up in late July. I got to ask you, how did you find out? What was that day like, and what was going through your mind as you look ahead to join the Giants?
Yeah, it was a crazy night. I remember I had a pretty good game. I think I went 3 for 4, and I was all high on the night and hanging out in my hotel room like we usually do in El Paso, Texas. And sure enough, I saw some reports that Hector had gone down with a concussion. So instantly I'm thinking it's me or Quiros. So I was sitting in my hotel room, and sure enough, I got the call around 12 or 1 o'clock, and they were like, "Hey, you're coming out." And man, it felt great. My parents were in Tahoe, so I had to ruin their vacation, but I guess it was well worth it.
And what a season it was. You get the call up, you play great, you guys make the run, you win the World Series. Obviously, I'd ask you what stands out. There's a lot of things that must have stood out for that year.
Yeah, you know what, man? It's just been a great ride. I got engaged. I won the World Series. Played on a tremendous team with unbelievably competitive guys, and it's just been a great run. And I guess some people would say it's all downhill after that, but it's been a great 2014. It was good to me.
A funny story. We were talking to athletic director from Jesuit, Chris Fahey, and a couple months ago at Jesuit, a lot of the Jesuit players from yesteryear were talking to their current players. And Fahey's looking out there in the outfield, and there's this good-looking woman chasing down fly balls. And he finds out, it's Susak's fiance, Maggie, who you met at Oregon State. So there's a charmed life. I mean, good living there. But that's another benefit of going to college.
Oh yeah. I mean, we used to go on dates, and our date nights would consist of soft toss in the cage at Oregon State. So, and she was playing softball as well, so we'd go vice versa. It was a pretty good combo.
Andrew Susak, thank you so much. All right, Mike, good stuff with Andrew Susak. And I think the real topper for me was he was talking about his fiance Maggie, and she's such a fan that she shags down fly balls for him when he's working out. That's good living. That's almost showing off.
You know what showing off is you get called up in July and you win a World Series a few months later. That's pretty good.
For your hometown team. So
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, it's a neat thing covering high school sports in the Sacramento region, Mike, is sometimes the best action isn't necessarily on the football field or in the playing court. It's in the stands. And we're talking about the rooting sections, and there's a lot of high school students very involved. There's no apathy going on. It's not cool to be apathetic. It's cool to be involved, and you've seen basketball, football. We got some rowdies out there.
We do. Let's start off with high school football. You know what? The sections have just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. They bring a definite home field advantage, and they all have names. You've got for Folsom, you've got the Dog Pack, for example, or at Del Oro, you've got the Black Hole. At Wood Creek, you've got the Black Mob, and then you move over to basketball, Joe, and it's the same thing, isn't it? Named student sections.
Yeah, whether it's at Jesuit High School or Christian Brothers in Sacramento or Rio Americano or in Elk Grove or at Grant or up in Highway 50 or Placer County, people get involved, and it's neat to see. And the players love it. And some of these players will get used to it as they'll play in colleges that have that kind of vibe. But for a lot of these guys, they'll never have this kind of energy again.
And it's not always student sections that are avid fans of football and basketball. How about the Sacramento Kings? We recently saw DeMarcus Cousins out there at a game, checking it out at Folsom. We saw him at a Grant football game as well, as you see here. So he's a big fan. We saw Michael Malone, former Kings coach, at a game. So the local professionals are also high school fans, aren't they?
Well, and they live in the community, and they go to the events. Michael Malone was dismissed by the Kings in mid-December, but he still goes to games. He looks a little undercover. He's got the beard going and the hat and everything. And then DeMarcus Cousins is a regular at high school games. He's adopted local teams. He goes to the Grant Pacer games, which is right there in Del Paso Heights. Goes to Folsom high school basketball games, and we caught up to him and said, what are you doing here? And he said, I'm a high school fan. And so that's kind of neat to see. And he teased him, hey, do you feel older? Because I feel a lot older, even though he's only 23, 24. Yeah. He doesn't ice in high school. He ices regularly after practice and games, so he is old.
And we ice after these games.
We ice when we wake up.
Joe, a full show right there. We caught up with UC Davis men's basketball coach Jim Less, how well they're doing. It's a little college. We caught up with Andrew Susak of the Giants. Of course, high school. We got it all in this show, as we do every week. And if you want to see the show every week, what you do is you tune in to Comcast Sportsnet California every Tuesday. Show re-airs Wednesdays, Thursdays, sometimes Fridays, Joe. And if they want to see it online, where do they go?
Real simple. SACB.com, where we have all kinds of story links, whether it's on the Kings, the 49ers, the high schools, local colleges, photo galleries, columns, all kinds of fun stuff.
Yep. All right, folks, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.